Everything had been pretty stable. Once everyone who was going to die had died at least. Even my parents. We'd all lost at least one parent. That may explain what brought all of us together. 7 kids like the 7 days of the week. And a duty for each one of us. All between 9 and 12 years old. We always moved together. The Murtaugh twins, Nora and Wiley, and the other 3 kids in the group. Shelby, Ivan, Amelia, and me, Violet. Ivan leaned on Amelia. She was his big sister. Sometimes I felt really jealous of the kids who still had someone to care about. To the adults, we were the kids who needed looking after, which was irritating, but kind of nice at the same time. Until the flood, we had lived with about 100 other people in the lower floors of the Mandarin Oriental in Washington, D.C. The outside of the hotel was boarded up and fortified, and JTF soldiers often stopped by to make sure things were okay. It's funny how okay sounds like it could be worse when your entire world is collapsing. They got water from rain barrels. It was a pretty safe place compared to some. Things in D.C. were a bit better than they were being over winter. Maybe that was because it was easier to feel good about things when flowers were blooming and everything was green. Now we were staying up at the old Smithsonian Castle. We helped in the garden, and many times, like today, we would go out to find stuff to help out in the camp. A couple of groups had decided to head over towards the east side, hoping that things were more stable near the military base there. What was it called again? Saeed! What's the name of the army base over by the river? Not the Potomac one, the other one.
The Lincoln Camp.
I was glad Saeed was around. It was like having Google around, even though Google was gone, along with everything else. The whole area around the Capitol building was a no-go zone for us. Well, when I say us, I mean the kids. Adults didn't understand that we could figure out how to survive just as well as adults could, but we have to get outside every day to find stuff. We spent most of the time hanging around the mall, as young kids used to do before the Green Plague. But the more we went there, the weirder it felt. Everything was like a museum. Not just the museums, everything. The sports apparel shop, the BK, even the billboard welcoming tourists. Seemed like it had been made for a different world. The museum of life we will never have. Isn't it strange how people put things in museums so they wouldn't be forgotten? Now one of the old things people remembered was the way things used to be before the plague. Field trips, weekend outings with parents. All the normal everyday things that people used to do. All these things are now part of the Civilization Museum. Do you think one day there will be a museum, of life before the plague? Ivan was looking up and down the mall. He was always their sentry, keeping an eye out for people who might be a threat. Docs from the camp said that kids who had been through trauma did that. They called it hypervigilance. There were still a lot of bad people in D.C. The government was gone. The army was gone. The police were gone. Everyone had to look out for themselves. The division agents couldn't do it all. Saeed was looking at me. I know. You want to go to the Air and Space Museum, but we can't.
Come on. I always wanted to be an astronaut. See space, the stars, the infinite nothing.
And now?
Now, it's about getting out of this place.
Images of the Challenger spaceship exploding in the sky a few minutes after launch flashed through my head. As if even the image of hope was sullied. The Air and Space Museum was one of our no-go zones. Supposedly, bad people had taken it over as well. We can't go there on our own. It's too dangerous.
Dangerous? Compared to what?
The sky over the river was cloudy. It was going to rain. Let's go home. We can't really carry any more anyways. We had been away from the castle for over 3 hours. We were all hungry and tired. Maybe we hadn't gone where we were supposed to go. But we were coming back with better stuff than the others were expecting. The others is the way we like to talk about the adults. It's not as if we are not a group. They're just so protective that most of the time we feel like they're just looking down on us. Whatever. The grocery bags were stuffed full of dandelion greens, and we even found a ton of cattails. I guess none of us had ever thought of eating cattails before. One of the women at the castle, Louisa, had taught us what to look for. She took the brown part of the cattails that looked like a hot dog and ground it up into flour. Cattail pancakes were on the menu at the castle now, and to be honest, they were okay.
Why don't we cut through the White House?
Maybe because the place is full of armed men?
Come on, it's just JTF, guys. There's nothing to be afraid of. It'll be faster.
Well, it's still men with guns.
Not all men are bad. You know that, right?
True. Only men with guns.
And what about the guys from the division, Our dad is from the division, and he's a good man.
We are not going through the White House. End of discussion. And why do we still call it the White House? It's not even white anymore. All of the kids lost their parents. And all of them made up stories about their parents to make themselves feel better. Ivan and Amelia never stopped talking about their dad. A division agent fighting at NYC. We all knew their dad was dead, but no one wanted to be the one to tell them. It was kind of a pact between us, to not break each other's illusions. They were our security blanket, the ones that helped us fall asleep at night, and the ones that gave us faith to wake up in the morning. Even I had a security blanket, but it was not my parents. In the first couple of days after things started to get bad, my mom was already sick then. And my dad had caught the dollar bug soon after. Both of them were dead a week after Black Friday. The people running the quarantine site kept me there for another 2 weeks. This is how I met the other kids, the other orphans. I know, it's weird, but I feel like I have to use this word. Because it was true, and I had to face the truth. My parents were dead. I had seen them die. After a 4-hour expedition, we were finally back home. That's how I realized that I was starting to think of the castle as home. Everybody was already in the dining hall. We took our precious loot to the kitchen. Dinner in the castle was catch as catch can, with small groups of people clustered at small tables or sitting on the floor with their plates. We were a little bit away from the main groups of adults, but still close enough to hear some of their conversation. This was a good way to learn things adults didn't want us to know. Lunchtime had become kind of a prime time, breaking news TV show. Junior was at the table near one of the gallery's big windows, deep in conversation with 3 others. One of them was Mike Walker, who had led a group from the Mandarin Hotel to the castle after the flood. That was almost 3 weeks ago.
We have to be careful. There was already pressure from over toward the Capitol, and now they've taken over the Air and Space Museum. Won't be long before they come here.
Maybe not. We don't have anything they want.
They're not just bandits, Junie. They don't want to steal anything from us. They're lunatics who want power.
So what?
So they're gonna go looking for people they can have power over. Shh. Don't shh me.
I know who they are, Mike. And I think if we keep our heads down, just go about our business, we can trust the JTF to keep things under control. Anyway, this is a conversation for another time.
If you say so, seems to me they should know.
They already know a lot more than they need to. We're the adults. We should protect them when we can.
Junie. There are mass graves 200 yards outside the window. Protect them from what?
From growing up faster than they already have.
Okay, kiddos. Everyone who's finished their meal, time for bed.
As we were saving energy and electricity, bedtime was never far away from dinner time. We all went to bed nicely, like good kids. For a while, I had gone to sleep every night thinking about my old room in my old house. Was anyone living in the house now? Was there another kid sleeping in my bed, playing with my stuffed animals? Probably not. Probably the house was empty, with broken windows and its rooms all messed up from people looting it.
Do you think it's getting more dangerous, V?
That was Shelby again. She started treating me as if I was her big sister, which was okay most of the time. But right now, I didn't know what to tell her. It's hard to tell. I don't know how things could be more dangerous. I mean, what does dangerous mean these days? What's normal, what isn't? I guess it's okay, Shelby. Just sleep. Sweet dreams.
You too, V. Night, everyone.
Night.
Night.
What the hell? Is everyone okay?
I'm okay. Syed, look.
Saeed pointed to the window. There were flashes and fire near some of the museum buildings across the mall from the castle. The sky seemed to be painted in red and orange. Then the fire and screams got closer and closer. It was as if the whole fight was moving like a tornado in one direction and then another. A wave of possibilities. It felt like the end of a basketball match, when the ball is bouncing on the hoop and the buzzer has already rung. Outside on the castle grounds, there were armed adults watching the battle. That meant they were worried.
What do we do?
Junie came in and shut the door behind her.
Okay, back in bed, everyone.
Junie, what's going on out there?
Shooting. But whatever it is, it won't come this way.
She was tucking Amelia in as she said that.
But what if it does?
It won't. Look, there's a lot of arguments sometimes about what we should do. And you know why? Because none of us ever had to do it before, so we all have to learn.
Junie settled herself on a long couch at Shelby's feet.
Mike and I don't always agree on how to do things. That's natural. But we both want the best for everyone in the castle, especially you kids. You didn't make this world, but you're going to be the one stuck with it.
Thank you, grown-ups.
But you're doing good. You're sticking together. You'll be all right. I hear President Mendez is getting things under control. Pretty soon there might be a Congress again. Then we can get back to moaning and groaning again about how dumb they are.
And what if there's no one left to groan? The next morning, everything seemed to be back to normal. Nobody wanted to talk much about what happened last night. But when it was time to go outside to find some goods, I honestly felt better about being in a big group with adults. Even if I loved it when it was just 7 of us. I knew that we were safer with adults around. They started to walk towards the tunnel, where there was this big lake. The twins were debating about what they were capable of eating to survive.
And a frog. Would you eat a frog if you had to survive?
Ugh, gross. That's disgusting.
You know, French people think it's very chic to eat frogs.
But they also eat snails, and I don't think that's fancy either.
Junie held up her hand for us to stop moving. Stop talking. Stop anything we were doing. She had seen people coming out from the little building, just across Constitution Avenue. They were ragged, wearing mismatched clothes, and looked different to each other. Different races, different haircuts. I thought at first they were just a band of scavengers and robbers. DC was full of them. They were scary, but not to us. We were part of a big group with 5 adults. Nothing really serious could happen. How far from the truth could I have been?
Get low! Get low! Don't move! Keep an eye on each other. Hey, keep an eye.
Were they running? If they were, we should run too. The rest of the kids hit the ground. As Mike and the other adults grabbed their guns and started shooting back. Okay, we have to run and get out of here.
Wiley!
I ran to Wiley, but I couldn't stop thinking about the bullets. I always thought that if I found myself in this kind of situation, I would be brave and do what I had to do. The truth is, courage is a lie. I was literally pissing in my pants. I find Wiley and the cattails. They were full of blood. Scared me to hell. I had to lie down and press on his wound.
V, they shot me.
Listen to me. You're okay.
It hurts. I'm gonna die.
Shut up, you're not. You're not. Wiley rolled over, clutching at his wound. At this exact moment, I wanted to run all the way to Alexandria and hide forever in my old room with my old posters and stuffed animals, sleeping until someone came to tell me that everything was going to be all right, but I couldn't. I could hear gunshots getting closer. Mike was shooting back, but the robbers kept coming. Bullets slashed through the cattails over our head. I couldn't see Mike anymore. I couldn't see where any of the adults were. The robbers were hiding between cars and other junk. I could see them moving. It was like a slasher movie when you can see the killer passing from one room to another, and you can't control yourself, screaming to the girl on the screen, "Move! What the hell are you doing?" You know what? You can't move. He started over the footbridge. The rest of the robbers behind him. It was at that moment that I knew I was going to die. We were all going to die. The shooting stopped, and somehow that made everything worse.
Shh. Now, if things get bad, just don't look.
Beyond the robbers, there was more movement in the trees. Damn, there are more of them. Look in the trees. I knew that Junie had another gun, a square black pistol. It wasn't going to be much help against 10 robbers, or more, if that's who was coming through the trees.
Take cover!
A tall white guy wearing a backpack and carrying a rifle stepped into view. He raised the rifle and took aim. There was a glowing orange circle on his left wrist. The robbers didn't know where the shot came from. They continued to shoot in Mike's direction, while others tried to figure out where their division agent was. He fired, shifted his aim, fired again, shifted once more, fired again. All in 2 seconds. Then he stepped behind the tree again.
Where the fuck is he? I don't know. I can't see him.
The division agent stepped out again. One shot. Another robber down.
He can't get us all with a fucking deer rifle. Go after him. I'll find you and kill you, motherfucker.
The robbers charged. Junie jumped up from the cattails and ran towards Mike, dragging him behind some bushes, where at least there would be some cover. I looked back at Noah.
How is he? He's hurt! He's still bleeding!
Wiley was quiet and pale, his head resting in Noah's lap. The robbers were firing into the trees. There he was. No, wait. This was an Asian woman. Another agent, calmly stepping out to flank them. She had a different kind of rifle, one of the ones with the curved magazines. When she fired, it was a long burst that raked the group of robbers. They started to scatter, at least the ones that still could. Then the first division agent reappeared at the other end of the trees and calmly shot another one of them. That left only 2 of the original 10. They ran for their lives through the trees back toward Constitution Avenue. The division agents didn't go after them. They met on the footbridge and crossed together. I think I will always remember the breath I took after that moment.
Hey! You can come out now! Yeah, we need help! 2 of us are shot, at least 2. I don't know where everyone is.
Okay, ma'am. We're gonna get you a stretcher.
Then I looked for the bodies of the other 3 adults, but there weren't any. Then I realized that they had just left, except for Mike and Junie. The others had left.
What's wrong, V?
The other adults. They ran away. If you and Mike weren't there, we would have been killed. Abandoned. How could they?
Look, V, remember when I told you it was not easy to be a kid? Well, it's not easy to be an adult either. Those times do not make it easy for anybody. We are all beginners here. You